Hey everyone, Tanner Bell here and welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how to screen print using vinyl. This is a task that I bet a lot of you think is very daunting, but I actually in today's video want to share with you how easy it is to actually screen print using your Cricut. And one of the main reasons why we think here at Maker's Gonna Learn it's best to screen print is when you are doing repetitive projects. So for example, if you have a very large shirt order or anything like that, it may be actually easier to create a screen and just really quickly screen print all of those shirts rather than cutting out the vinyl, weeding it, and things like that. And again, screen printing is ink. So it is a heat set paint that is going to be on your material and may last longer than heat transfer vinyl, and it works with cotton. So is another alternative to using sublimation. And again, it's just another great technique to have in your back pocket for the perfect project. So if you're ready to jump into it, let's go ahead and talk about our supplies. But first, I want to encourage all of you to like the video. If you are excited to learn more about this project, go ahead and like the video. Do not miss out and hit the subscribe button if you're brand new to the Maker's Gonna Learn channel. If you need access to thousands of cut files, hundreds of fonts, and training to help you master your Cricut machine, because let's face it, Cricut YouTube videos may not always cut it, definitely check out our membership linked right down below. We even have a special coupon code for you to try. So definitely check that out and let's go ahead and jump right in to what you need. As you see on the table, there's quite a few supplies. Don't let this overwhelm you because believe it or not, most of these supplies an average Cricut user will have. Now there's a few supplies I'll let you know that you'll definitely want to pick up on your next shopping trip to the craft store. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look. First things first is your actual screen. Now a quick tip here is to get just a large screen because we feel like even though like today we're making a baby onesie, we would rather have one large screen on hand rather than having 3 or 4 various size screens, because you can definitely screen print anything smaller than this right here. So this right here is a $19.99 screen print, and this is a 10 by 14 screen. So some people make their own. I'm recommending today you just pick one up at the craft store. Next up is our screen printing ink. We are using a white screen printing ink by Speedball. And again, white is a great alternative to sublimation because believe it or not, my friends, you can't really sublimate white. So this is another pro of screen printing rather than sublimation. Today we're using a 9-inch Squeegee by Speedball. Now if you're wanting the absolute best results while you're screen printing, be sure to have a squeegee that is larger than your image. So today we would want to make sure that our image is no larger than 9 inches. I would at least say about 8.5 inches just for safety on each side. Now that's for the best results. Your results may vary if say you're doing something 18 inches and you only have a 9-inch squeegee. For the best results, make sure that that squeegee is larger than your design, especially if you're just getting started. Next up, you're going to need the transfer tape that is least tacky in your craft supplies. Today, we're using the masking paper transfer tape that I use and have linked down below, so definitely check that out, and you'll just need some vinyl. We're also working with painter's tape today, so I like using this thicker painter's tape, which is perfect for all your projects. We're also going to have to heat set our ink after it dries, so we have an easy press on hand. And in addition to that, we have this awesome heat gun to speed up that drying process. The 2 last things that we need are our onesies that we are going to screen print today for today's project. You'll also need a piece of parchment paper, a Teflon sheet, or butcher's paper for this process when you're heat setting your ink after you have screen printed and it's dried. So we're using parchment paper today. And my friends, that's everything. So let's head over to Cricut Design Space to get our design ready to go and start the screen printing process. All right, my friends, so today we're working with a homegrown cut file from Maker's Gonna Learn that is actually 2 colors. So this is the cut file after you import it from the Maker's Gonna Learn website. Our website has tons and tons of cut files. As you can see right here, so many categories, so many fun projects that you're able to make, whether you're looking for print and cut projects, Christmas projects, whatever you need, there are cut files for you as soon as you get started at makersgonnalearn.com. And the best part is, after you upload your cut file once to your Design Space account, it's there forever. So you can always find it under the uploads. What I love about Maker's Gonna Learn cut files is that they're already set up and good to go for our projects. So this is a 2-color design. Now with screen printing, we only need 1 layer for today's project. So what we're going to do is just select this and press weld. That is just allowing our homegrown to be 1 layer. Now, one thing I want you to notice is we've already sized it. So today's size is 4 inches wide with a height of right under 3 inches. So what we're going to do is create a rectangle that is larger than that. So today's size is 7 by 5. So when we take this, you can see it fits in here very well with excess around here. And this is representing our vinyl. So the black square is representing our vinyl. And how we're going to be able to achieve that is actually slicing out homegrown and the square. So what we're going to do is we're going to select both of these layers. Once you've selected both of these layers, all we need to do is click slice at the bottom right-hand corner. I want to remind you guys you can only slice out 2 layers at a time. That is why we welded our homegrown and our vegetables before getting ready to slice this. So now we can simply press slice. You're going to see you now have 3 layers. So I'm going to drag this one over to the left side, and now we can delete out these 2 layers right here and press delete. So now we have our stencil ready to go and screen print, but it doesn't stop here. Let's go ahead and press make it. We're going to cut today on the mat. Notice that we've went ahead and it is now on the mat. And what I want to recommend for you guys to do is just kind of move this over so you have a little bit more space for your project today. So I've moved that over, and now I'm going to click mirror. Now, even though we're cutting just regular vinyl, you want to make sure to mirror this layer. You want to make sure this mat is mirrored because when you're screen printing, you are applying it backwards. So when you officially get ready to screen print, you'll be able to read it perfectly. So if you're confused about what this looks like, have no fear. Just if you're taking notes today, go ahead, mirror your vinyl when screen printing. Mirror your vinyl when screen printing. If you're ready to move forward, you can go ahead and press continue, and it will allow you to cut this out just like you would any other design. All right, my friends, so I've opened up my screen, and as you can see, right here is how we're actually going to lay it down. So where the screen is touching the surface, this is the proper way to hold your screen. So how we apply our vinyl is actually flipping it over around to the back, and we'll be able to position it. So what we need to do now is take a look at our decal. This is what it looks like after you have cut and have it all ready to go. Remember, we are using transfer tape for this process. So now we'll be able to grab our transfer tape, peel back some transfer tape. So as you can see, we have our transfer tape, and before we get ready to transfer it, I just want to remind you guys that this does not need to be sticky at all. So I'm going to stick it to my shirt right like so and peel it back, and then I'm going to stick it once more to my shirt and peel it back. This removes a little bit of the sticky tack because when you get your screen and we apply it here, you're going to notice it does not want to stick very well. So you do not need sticky transfer tape whatsoever. So now that we have been able to do this, you're going to flip it around, and peel this back. Okay, so now that we have this right here, we are going to peel this up and we're going to bring in our screen. And it's backwards, so just be careful with me. We're going to position this down and we're going to apply it onto our screen. I like to put my hand on the back and just kind of apply pressure, just like so, around the entire design. Okay, and then as you can see, you can start trying to peel it back. But do not be surprised if it does not want to stay down. That is totally normal. Be careful with any small pieces as they will want to come up, but just stay very careful and go slow. Ta-da! Now we've been able to get that nice and ready. Now that you have your design, we are ready to set up our shirt for screen printing. All right, so we have our shirt. Now we're going to take our screen and we're going to position it. So I want to position it right about here. So I'm giving some space down from where our collar is. I'm actually gonna move it up just a hair. And then you can position it and you can start feeling around at how that looks. You can kind of level it up. The screen will make you feel a little limited. So don't worry about your first time doing this when you're deciding like how big of a box do you want to have and things like that. No pressure there. Definitely give yourself some grace with your first screen printing project. Once you're happy with where you have applied your design, you want to make sure you leave it there. Now is the time to get out your painter's tape, and we are going to apply painter's tape around all of this extra area so that we make sure there's only ink where we want it to go today. So I'm applying it here. All right, so I've been able to tape this around, and I did not feel like it was necessary to tape everything because what we're doing is we're just gonna take that squeegee and the actual contact piece only goes to right about here. So notice I made sure there was plenty of area where it would not affect the rest of our shirt. That's the process you wanna be very careful about. So now what we're going to do is we're gonna take our ink, and this is our paint. I'm gonna open it up here. And what I like to do is take one of these, and we're going to take the popsicle stick and we're just going to take it and kind of apply it right around here. And you want a nice layer to go all the way over, just like so. All right, so notice I've given just a generous amount of screen printing paint right here up at the top. Now there's quite a bit there. I don't know how well you can tell, but there is quite a bit. Now this next process is where you make or break. I'm using pressure, applying it down because it's all about making sure that you're able to get contact to your project. So what we're going to do is make sure we apply pressure down, and we're also having to squeegee with nice contact as well. So we want to make sure that we have this all ready to go. And now we're going to take it and just pull it down really quick. So let's go ahead and do this together. And stop. And here's what we need to do. We need to pull up. And as you can see, you want to have your paper towel ready. You want to have some piece of something ready to go clean this off. Or if you're reusing it, you just don't want to let this get on your fabric. So I'm going to set this to the side. And now is for the big reveal. We're just going to peel this up. And as you can see, we've been able to screen print together. How easy was that? I love it. And the best part about screen printing, my friends, is it's repetitive. So now we can go ahead and set up our next project. So my best tip here is, since we have, already set this one up and it's ready to go for onesies, we've grabbed a second one. And what we're going to do is make sure that we position it properly. All right, my friends, now if you're able to commit your positioning for this screen that already has ink on it, that's awesome. But if you feel like you cannot commit to one press down onto your onesie or shirt, I would recommend washing this in between of your shirts. But again, we want to set this up for repetitive and quality and quantity, right? So that's what we're going to do. And I like to use the little line right here. And I just kind of position this here. And then once you're ready, you can sit it down onto your design and just repeat the same process. So I made sure to know exactly where I positioned my collar. So now we're going to add more ink to the bottom, because you see here, there's some extra ink. So what I'm going to do is just apply this extra ink onto the bottom, and we're actually going to squeegee up this time. Now that it's good to go, we're going to grab our squeegee, we're going to hold down, we're going to hold our pressure, just like so, and we're going to take our squeegee, and we're actually going to just go ahead and squeegee right up the top. Now, just like so, if you feel like you need a second squeegee, you're now able to still, with the same pressure, apply it and move the ink right back down. Again, there's a lot of extra ink here, so you can go ahead and put it right back in here into your ink. So notice over here on the side, I'm just taking it and scooping all that extra paint right back in here. And now we're going to be able to wash this off while not wasting any of our paint. All right, so now we're going to peel this up. And as you can see, we have another homegrown onesie. All right, so now the question is, do I want to lightly clean this, or do I want to deep clean it so I have a fresh screen to use a new design? What I would recommend, if you love the design and you have multiple projects to make in that day, lightly clean this. You can try cleaning it with warm water. There's very simple ways to clean it, or you can buy solution and things like that if you want to really get into the screen printing process. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our designs and talk about how you need to finish the process to make sure it's permanent. All right, my friends, so now we have our two designs right here, and what we've got is our Wagner heat gun. This is go heat set it for us if you are in a rush, or you can let this sit for 8 hours just to be able to dry on its own. And we have to make sure that it's dry ink before we can heat set it. So let's go ahead and turn this on low, and we're just gonna use this to heat set this ink and let it dry really quick. Getting your shirts dry, what we're going to do is take one at a time, position it on an easy press mat, just like so. We're going to now take the parchment paper, apply it down. What we've done is we've preheated our easy press to 320 degrees, and we're going to heat set it for 40 seconds. All right, after it beeps, remove the Cricut Easy Press, and you'll see that you now have your onesie ready to go. One thing I love about this is that now it can be washed. It doesn't feel like HTV, so it feels super soft, and it's going to last a lifetime. So now what I'm going to do is just repeat this process for my other onesie, and we'll be done. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I see all those materials in the beginning, it can feel really overwhelming. I love how these onesies turned out, and I think this will be a really great addition to your cricketing as well because of the lifespan that screen printing has. This ink is super great when you wash it. It's going to last through a ton of wash cycles. And if you're looking to sell your creations and be able to utilize something different than heat transfer vinyl, if it's had issues with you in the past, this is a great alternative, especially if you have very large shirt orders or anything like that. I would feel really confident creating my own screens using the Cricut. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them down below. I'll be in the comments section helping you with any questions you have. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this technique, and I want to see you guys create it. If you're a Makers Gonna Learn member, post your first screen printing creation in the group. I cannot wait to see it. Feel free, if you're a yearly member at Makers Gonna Learn, to utilize any of our cut files, our fonts, with that commercial license to sell what you make. That is super impressive with the thousands of cut files and hundreds of fonts. If you need to become a yearly member today, again, I have a special coupon code for you right down below that will save you quite a bit to get started with our year membership. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more Cricut videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, my friends.
And we have a really, really cute project today. And honestly, this is like next level crafting to me, but not hard. It's just like, it's a good way to take your crafts to the next level.
It is. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm actually going to be teaching you all how to screen print using your Cricut. So stick around. I am super excited about this. I really think you all are going to love it. I did forget to grab the sweatshirt, the puffy sweatshirt. So we did test out the new
Puff additive?
Speedball puff additive. Yes. And listen, I'm digging it, y'all.
Me too. I'm like ready to make some puffy sweatshirts. I don't know if that's what you would call it, but I think that the puff style of screen printing is coming back in style.
Yeah.
Even just like screen printing in general has come back in style. It's kind of like a long lost art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we got so into sublimation for a while. Screen printing is like whenever they used to print the newspapers in the old days, it was like such a longer, it was not such a long process, but there's a lot more thought that goes into it and a lot more like you're using your hands and it's more of like a trade almost, like a little, I don't know. Yeah. I love it though. I love screen printing and it's a lot easier than I thought. I've always been very intimidated by it, but like very surprised.
Please don't get intimidated by this.
But should we get started?
Yeah, I think we need to go ahead and get started because this could be one, this is a project that I feel like is something that you need to pre-plan for.
Yeah.
And let me just hop over here and let me explain everything to you. So so we can talk about the pre-planning.
I love your Starbs cup, by the way.
Oh, I brought out my spooky black studded Starbs cup.
I love it.
So this is the sweatshirt that we're gonna be making.
Love it.
I am obsessed. I feel like it gives a spooky vibe, but not but with a happy heart. Spooky vibes with a happy heart.
Yes, it's not like horror movie vibe or anything like that.
No, it's the dancing skeletons, which I love. So what I was saying is this is a project that if you are making more than one, this is something that you need to pre-plan for. And I'll kind of get more into that later because you are going to be making your screen with your Cricut. And really and truly, if you're not dragging your ink, like constantly dragging ink, your screen needs to be washed. And I'm going to, so as you guys can see, I actually did a black on black with the puff additive.
Which looked amazing.
It does look amazing. You want to go grab that?
Yeah, let me grab it.
So, I did the black, and instead of going and washing it, or I didn't keep the ink on it, I took the ink off, and what I did is I set it down so that I could get that puff additive to puff up because you have to add the heat to it. And I literally only let it set for maybe 5 to 7 minutes. And as you can see, it stained it. It didn't dry on it, but it did stain your screen. But that is okay. It's not a big deal. So that's what I mean when you are doing these sweatshirts, t-shirts, whatever, anything really with screen print. I would pre-plan and do multiples at one time so you're not having to wash and take a chance on your stencil coming off, things like that. So that's where I'm getting at making multiples. We did have someone ask, can we make our own screens? Yes. We actually, if you are a Makers Gonna Learn member, we have a master class showing you how to make your own frames. So you can make your own frames. This one is a speedball frame, the ones we're gonna be using, and as you can see, this did dry. So this did dry, so I can't drag through this, but I'm just gonna drag the top part through this, and I'll show you how to later. But in the masterclass, if you are a Makers Gonna Learn member, you have access to our frame building masterclass, where you can learn to build your own frames. Now, the cool thing about this is you can build the frames specific to whatever size you want. And then all you would do after that is you can buy screen print fabric on Amazon, a local craft store. Really, there's so many places you can buy that screen print fabric, because I've made like 4 or 5 screens ever since I started doing screen printing. And what you would do is you're just gonna take your screen, pull it tight. I staple mine to the sides. I don't nail them down. I just staple them to the sides, pull them as tight as I can, put the staples in, and then you can screen print on them. And then once you're done, if you're not using that screen anymore, you can just take those staples out pretty easy and reuse your frame. Or you can keep the screen in it. There's so many different things you can do.
And we go over screen printing on wood. So this is really, in our Maker University course, I should say. This is really good if you're wanting to sell signs and you're wanting to sell them in bulk. You can do white bases, black writing, and put a pretty wood frame around it, stained. And it's like, you can just pump out like 50,
So screen printing is not just for fabric. Screen printing you can do on paper, you can do on wood, you can do on canvas. There are so many different things that you can screen print. So don't think that screen printing is just for fabric. We just did it on fabric because that's what we were wanting to make. So let me show you. This is the black on black with puffy. And now that I'm looking at it in the mirror, with these lights in front of it, I'm even more obsessed with it.
Let me turn it to me. Oh yeah, it's like little shadow skeleton.
Yeah, it's just but I really like the monotone look. I really like it's just very subtle.
It's subtle, but still cute. And I brought the glitter additive, which I spilled literally everywhere over here. I didn't know how dusty it was. I grabbed it, and then I was looking for the puff additive so you could show them.
Oh, it's in the bottom. It's in my screen print drawer.
Oh, okay.
It's not a big deal. Yeah. So the screen print additive, it just comes in a container that looks like this. If you wanted to use your screen print additive, all you do is you take, I think it's a 1:3 or 1:3 ratio, 3 parts your ink, 1 part puff additive. So it's really easy, but we're not going to get into a lot of that right now.
Someone was asking, they said, I hope that's glow in the dark. And we literally talked about that.
Literally talked about doing a glow in the dark. But this is the question somebody asked. April asked, so if you get a stain on the screen, you cannot use it anymore. Okay, here's the difference. Let's go overhead. This one is just stained. So you can still see it's just the paint just barely stained it. If you hold it up, I can still see where the paint will go through it. This one, I think when Tanner was shooting the video, he forgot to wash it. So this has dried on there, and there are places where paint will not go through this. So if you let it dry, it's not usable anymore. This is just stained. It is still usable. You still can use this, okay? So just keep that in mind. If your ink stains it, it's okay. You can still use it, especially because you can still see through the micro places in the screen. And here we have our design. Now this design, as I knock my drink over, this design I have already pre-cut because it does take a while to weed all of this. You are weeding the negative space, but since we're overhead, let's just go ahead and go over our materials for this, what we're going to be using today. So obviously we have permanent vinyl. We are going to be using permanent vinyl to make our screen. I will say, because I know I'm going to get the question, can you use HTV? I tried that. I thought it would be such a good idea. Let me just use HTV. That way when I go to wash my screen, there's no chance of this adhesive coming off. It's going to be perfect. What happens is the HTV does not give as big of a lip as the permanent vinyl. So what I'm saying is when you put this permanent vinyl, or if you feel the permanent vinyl, you can feel the ridge of where the vinyl starts and where it stops. So that is what's going to stop that ink from going any further. HTV is a lot thinner. So when you can heat and you can put HTV on screen print fabric. It actually did not melt it. It worked.
That surprises me, actually.
It does surprise me too, but it worked fine. What happens though is it does not have as big of a lip, I guess you could say, or as big of a ridge. So what happens is for some reason it just starts bleeding. So using HTV would be a good idea, but I tried it and it does not work.
That's interesting to me.
I thought for sure it was going to work.
Right.
But it didn't. So we have this. So you'll need permanent vinyl. We have our sweatshirt here. We just grabbed this one. I think we got it from Michael's, Hobby Lobby, somewhere. Anyway, there's plenty of places online where you can get sweatshirts in bulk order. Amazon is also a good place if you can find them pretty cheap. We are working with a 12 by 24 inch mat today just because we are doing the oversized sweatshirt look. So we're doing the oversized sweatshirt look, so it's going to be a bigger design. So I am working with a 12 by 24 mat. Of course, we have our Speedball screen print ink. Now, I have only ever used one other brand other than Speedball. I do love Speedball ink. The only other one I have used, I think, is called Jacquard, and it was a turquoise color. Loved it. Didn't have any issues with it, but Speedball is a great brand to start out with if you are new to screen printing. I also have our Squeegee. Now, you don't have to have a Speedball Squeegee. Actually, my favorite Squeegee is a wooden handled one, but I just couldn't find it, so I just grabbed this one. But you are going to need a Squeegee, and what this is going to do is this is going to pull our ink through the screen onto our medium that we're working with. I'm going to stop calling it our sweatshirt. I'm just going to say medium, because you all may want to do a t-shirt. You may want to do it on wood. You may want to do it on paper.
The process is pretty similar across the board. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, the process is still very, very similar.
Diana had a question.
Okay.
Is there a solution that you use to get the paint out of the screen after it dries?
There is, but we don't have any.
What's it called? Do you know what it's called?
It's a Speedball cleaner.
Oh, okay.
That you can clean your screens with.
Okay.
We don't have any, so that's why
ours is messed
up. That's why ours is messed up, because we don't have any. But yes, there is a solution that you can buy. Now, let's go to one. Most people, when they do screen print, they will do the screen print transfer. So what you do is you would print that out on an inkjet printer, and then there is a photo solution, a photosynthetic solution that you put over your screens, put blue light or like a black light to it with that laying over it. It's a pretty long process. So that's why we're not doing a true screen print. I wanted to show you guys how to do it with your Cricut, because sometimes you may not have access to those lights, the special lights that you have to have, or, you know, so we're doing it with our Cricut. So if you are an expert in screen printing, just know
this is the easy way.
This is the easy way. I'm not an expert, but I wanted to bring you guys a way that you could do it with your Cricut. So this right here is going to be the most important thing that you have when you are doing it with your Cricut. Let's go overhead. This is our painter's tape. Your Scotch Blue painter's tape is going to be one of the most important things with this if you are screen printing with your Cricut. Okay, guys? So this is, which I feel like this is a must-have for any crafting.
I keep it I keep it in my back pocket. I use painter's tape every day for all the crafts.
I just need to start wearing it as a bracelet.
Yeah, like, can we make some cute Scotch tape bracelets? Yeah. Let's make it happen.
Let's just make Scotch tape where we just have it as a bracelet and wear it around the office.
Bangles.
Yes.
Some people are asking if they need special paint, but you don't need special paint, but you do need ink. You're using Speedball ink.
Yes. So we're using the Speedball screen print ink.
And there's different colors. There's like tons of different colors that you can choose from.
Yeah. So this is, it's not, it looks like a paint.
It does look. It's like even the
paint.
Consistency of a paint.
Let's open it up and we'll look at the consistency.
And April, you don't use different inks for different mediums that I'm aware of. You use the same. It's the same ink, Speedball ink or whatever screen printing ink you want to use.
So, are they seeing this? Like this is she a thick boy?
Yeah, it's thick. I mean, almost thicker than paint.
It is thicker than paint.
It's goopy.
It's goop. Yeah. It's goopy. But this is the consistency of it. It's very thick, but this is a special screen print ink. Okay. So now that we have gone over our materials, and I swear I feel like this is one of those that the materials, it's pretty minimal. Honestly,
it really is. Like, we were like just saying it feels like we don't have all of our supplies, but we do.
Your HGV or your permanent vinyl and your matte, you're gonna have. So you are going. I mean, you may even have some frames laying around that you aren't using that you could use for.
If you can put a staple gun to it and staple it, you can use it.
Flat on the back,
right? And
as long as your frame is flat on the back and you can put a staple gun to it. You don't have to have a special Speedball screen.
I guarantee y'all have 1x2s laying around your house. All you've got to do is connect it. And I'm like, all you got to do is make a frame. All you got to do is, but you really, I mean, if you've got pieces of wood laying around, you can connect them and then add that fabric over top of it. Yeah. It's super easy to make a screen.
So Megan asked, sorry if I missed this, what other types of mediums other than clothing does screen print ink work on? Do you have to always heat set it? So, screen print works obviously on clothing. We have done it on wood. We have worked with it on paper, or like if you're wanting to frame something like a matting, like a paper matting. And what else have we done it on?
I'm trying to think. I'm racking my brain.
That's pretty much the main three things that I think majority of people use it on. As far as heat setting it, I take a heat gun to, I took a heat gun to both of those to dry them, which I'm assuming is heat setting those. But I did not personally put them in a press afterward to set them.
Right.
I just let them, I took a heat gun to them to dry them. So
Charlotte made a good point about it being thick. It would go, the screen printing ink is a little bit thicker because otherwise whenever you run it down the screen, it's going to seep underneath your stencil. Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and we're going to hop over into Design Space, and I'm going to show you guys what you're going to need to do with your whatever you guys are going to be making. So we have this already made. As you can see, I made this quite some time ago. So let's go ahead, add this to our canvas. I already have this sized the way that I want it. So I'm actually going to be cutting this on a 12 by 24 inch mat. So I'm within my 11.5 inches in height. So that's going to go across, but it's not really much more than a 12 by 24 inch mat. Now, if you were making a screen, I would make my screen large enough to fit this all in one time. We don't have a screen here that fits this all in one swipe. So I'm going to show you guys what I did, and you all can do this too. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to cut this off, add it to a separate screen, and then we will go from there. But one thing that I definitely want to kind of let you guys know, I'm going to add in a text, not to this sweatshirt. I'm just going to show you what you're going to need to do because this is very important. So let's just do Alicia. So when you are adding your stencil to your screen before you screen print, here's where I want to kind of let you guys know what to do. So let's go overhead. So when we are adding our stencil to our screen, okay, we're not adding it inside here. We're actually going to be adding it to the back. So think about it. We're adding permanent vinyl to the back. So what do you think we would need to do to our vinyl?
Pick me.
Anybody?
Reflect the image. Mirror your image.
Yes. Yes. So if we had a text if you were doing a text on your shirt and we're putting the sticky side of the vinyl on the back and it said Alicia perfectly this way, well, guess what we're gonna do? We are going to flip it. And what is that gonna do to our letters?
Gonna be backwards.
It's gonna be backwards. So when you pull it, you're gonna have your words backwards. So back over to Design Space. We have Alicia. What we're gonna do, just gonna weld that together right there. What you're gonna need to do, go ahead and design everything the way that you want it. Let's just say we had it on the bottom underneath, and then we go to make it. Once you go to make it, we're actually going to, let's see, continue. So we're not gonna cut it that way. You're going to mirror. And the reason I say mirror it now before you go choose your material is because if you go choose your material before mirroring it, it's not going to give you the, hey, you need to mirror your image like it does when you are doing HTV. So when you're doing HTV, it tells you, hey, you need to mirror your image.
But we're not using HTV.
But we're not using HTV.
Right.
So I'm trying to get to this spot where you all can see what I'm talking about. The mesh you can get, it is called screen print.
I've searched screen print fabric and found
screen print fabric, screen print, I think silk maybe. I don't.
Yes. Yes.
I think
printing
it's technically screen print silk.
That's the official.
You can get that Amazon, craft store. I mean,
I've never found it at Hobby Lobby, but I did buy it in bulk on Amazon. I got a bunch on Amazon.
We did get a whole bunch at Amazon. So what I'm saying is, let's just go to Everyday Iron-On. You all see, it tells you right here, make sure to mirror is turned off. So if we go back and we type and we put premium vinyl, it doesn't tell us to mirror it. So that's why I'm saying if you are doing this, it is best to mirror it before you go. And you need to mirror all of these. Really and truly, our skeletons, they can go either way.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. And I can show you. I think one of these I mirrored and one of these I did not. So why don't you come up here and hold them? Hold one for me and I'll hold the other.
Okay. I got glitter all over.
So some images, oh, you did. It's okay.
Sorry.
See, some images it's okay if you mirror and some it's okay if you don't. This one, see,
you can tell his arm is going this way like this. He's like, hey, and this one's like, hey.
So this one is one, like, if you forget to mirror, you know what?
It's fine.
It's not that big of a deal.
It's fine.
It's really, if you have a text in your design is what is going to be the most important when mirroring, to mirror your image when you are screen printing. So now that we've discussed that, what we're gonna do, like I said, guys, this is just permanent vinyl. I sized my design the way that I wanted it. You guys can size accordingly. Me and Alicia really enjoy our oversized sweatshirts.
The bigger, the better.
The bigger, the better. So, of course, our design needed to be a little larger. If I was doing this on a size small sweatshirt, that would be way too big. Mm-hmm. Like, you definitely need to size it down. So measure your area according to how large the t-shirt is, sweatshirt, whatever. And then, oh my goodness.
What?
I've lost both my little noses on this design.
Oh.
Somewhere between here and there. They don't have noses. It's okay. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to prepare our screens. So now we'll head back overhead. What we're gonna do, we are going to, I'm pretty sure I'm committing a cardinal sin here.
What?
I'm pretty sure these are fabric scissors.
We were just talking about that.
Y'all didn't see that. Y'all did not see that.
We don't discriminate. Our scissors can be used for any medium around these parts.
No, my fabric scissors are by themselves.
Lauren's are guarded, but
mine are guarded.
Rest are free range.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if I can get this transfer tape off, maybe in a minute.
man.
Y'all, I lost part of his hips too.
His pelvic floor.
His pelvic floor is gone. This is the only thing. You have to be careful with this design because there are pieces that will move around, and I'll move them around in a minute. It's okay.
Look like their pelvics look like little butterflies.
They do. They do look like butterflies. Okay.
Megan said she thinks that's by Stained. Listen, if you,
maybe it is.
y'all have to look it up. I know my dad listened to it.
Oh, I know I listened to it.
Oh, well, me too. But I like when I was little. I feel like that's like when I heard it.
Or is it 3 Doors Down?
No.
No,
it's not 3 Doors Down.
it's not.
I gotta find it.
Okay, what I'm doing now, this is something that you all don't have to do. I'm doing this because this whole thing will not fit on the back of this screen. So I found it easier for this to separate out the stars and the little moon. And then I'm just doing the skeleton guys on the bottom half of this screen, and then I'm doing the stars on a second half. They said it is.
It is. I found it. It's Stained. Y'all are right. But yeah, they all sound exactly the same.
Okay. Once we get that down, you know, we take anything around here to burnish our stuff down with. So I'm taking the edge of this screen print thing, and I'm going to burnish that guy down. And then we're going to start pulling it up off of here. I do.
It's
okay.
different.
So now that we have this pulled up, we are going to lay it down on our screen. Really, you can lay this anywhere. I'm not laying it where those other ones went. Now, this is key. Don't burnish down this side, okay? You don't want to loosen up your screen. So what you're gonna do, lay this down, we're gonna flip it over. Y'all, that looks crazy. Where that is stained. That looks...
It's trippy because it's like not really gonna be there. Oh,
sorry. Yeah.
what a terrible, awful sound.
That bothers you?
I can't.
Okay. Anyway, I'll use my hands.
Listen, do what you gotta do. I'll make it, I think.
So we are burnishing this down, and then what we're gonna do is come back over. Now this is where I think it is. This is where I love using my transfer tape.
Okay.
That I've already used. Yep, I'm trying to get this down.
I didn't realize the backer of the vinyl was blue.
Let me try this real quick. See if this helps. I really like using the 143.
Burnishing tool.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, me and that brayer have been friends. I've been using that brayer like a bunch lately. If you don't have a brayer, just get one. They flatten especially if you like cut a lot of fabric with your Cricut, they're really good for rolling your fabric out flat. And whenever you're trying to get your transfer
Actually,
down.
if you don't care to run out there and grab that. So this is where it can get a little tricky. Sometimes it doesn't like to stick. And I'm really not sure why. So using that burnishing tool is very, very helpful.
Our AC's out today, so.
Yes. Normally it's not this hard. I'll just be real honest.
You did it. You made it to the end.
Okay.
You made it.
So just to make sure that this is down, I'm going to go through here with this laying down, and I'm going to make sure that all of that is good and down. Yes, it does look trippy with the black skeletons and this going through, but just hear me out. Hang with me. I promise it's normally. So we're just going through.
I've done a few simple screen print images, but really want to try multi.
So here is one of the most important parts. Once you have this down, what we are going to do now is we are going to take our painter's tape. Now, it doesn't have to be the blue Scotch painter's tape. I have some frog tape here. I'm probably going to use the frog tape on the smaller sides. So what I'm doing now is you are going to take your blue painter's tape and we are going to tape off any place that we don't want screen print ink. So
what would happen if you taped it on the other side?
I couldn't tell you. I've only ever taped it on this side.
So you normally tape it on the
I
side
tape
that
it
you're
on the
looking at?
inside,
Okay.
yes. I tape it on the inside, that way I can get a really good crease in here, and I know it's not going to bleed through that. So I am just running this through here, taping off my edges. Now, if you had an area of this skeleton that you didn't want, so let's just say you wanted the 2 skeletons on the edge, you could even tape off that middle skeleton.
Right.
And then pull the tape up if you wanted to do it again with all 3.
Yeah.
So we are just taping off the edges that we do not want paint.
And that's you were saying that's how you would do like multiple colors, right?
I did teach you all with the multiple color screen print video that will be coming out. I did tape off, I think the file that I used was a little bit of Dolly, a whole lot of Miranda.
Yes.
Like there were words, and I wanted the name Miranda and the name Dolly to be 2 different colors, and then the rest of the design was white. So I was able to tape off. You know what might be easier? I just now thought of this. They might be able to see it a little bit better. There we go. Get that blue behind there.
There you go.
So, yeah, I just taped off the word Dolly and Miranda and I did the white first, and then I had Dolly and Miranda on the same screen. Taped off Miranda, did the Dolly in hot pink, and then taped off Dolly and did Miranda in turquoise.
And it's so pretty.
So cute.
I love it. Katrina said that she tapes hers on the back and it works great. So there you go.
That's great.
Yeah. And
I will definitely be doing that next time. I've just personally only ever done it on the front.
Yeah, just as long as it's covered. As long as it's covered. But
okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna just turn around. See that corner? I think I'm just gonna
do it.
Let's go ahead and tape it on our back too. So this is not necessary, can I just say. I'm just double taping because I don't know. I really don't know.
And back there, you're going to want to really make it flat, right? Because it won't transfer smoothly if it's not flat enough.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So this double taping is not necessary. I just did it for funsies. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to lay out my sweatshirt or my medium, whatever medium you're using. We're going to make sure it lays nice and flat.
Tracy said, I'm not sure I have enough patience for this, but you know what the beauty in screen printing is? There's a lot of prep work, and then once you have it, you can just boom, boom, boom. You can bust it out. You could do I could have brought you 4 sweatshirts, and we could do them right now.
So once this is done, once you have your screen done, this is what I'm saying. It's a lot of prep work, like she said at the beginning, and this is why I said pre-planning is absolutely key when it comes to this. If you plan on making multiples, you need to pre-plan. Make sure you know exactly how many sweatshirts or shirts or whatever you're going to make. Have them all ready to go. Heck, if you have someone there helping you, just pull it, pop it up, make sure it looks good. Have somebody else grab the shirt, lay another one down for you. Boom. Again, keep going.
Yeah.
You don't have to take the ink off. You don't have to add. You can add as much to this screen, and then just keep pulling it up, back down, pull it again.
Yep.
You could do 10 once you're done. If you have someone helping you, easily do 10 in like 5 or 10 minutes.
And you can save that ink after you're done, right?
Yes, I do save my ink. So once I'm done, I save my ink. What did I do with my ink, actually?
Surely it's up there.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
I seen it.
There it is.
Oh.
It was covered up by my thing. So I saved my ink. I scoop it up, put it back down in there.
Does it go bad? Megan was asking if screen printing ink goes bad.
I couldn't even tell you. This has, okay, I will say this. This screen print ink, especially the white, has been here since before I started with Makers Gonna Learn, and I still use it and have no problem with it.
Okay. So at least a year.
At least, it stays at least a year. It stays at least a year. Can you add other colors to make the whites a different color? So they have more colors than just white.
Yeah.
They have all different kinds of colors for screen print. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to take my ink. I've got a plastic spoon, and I'm just going to add it up here to the top. So I'm kind of lifting this up, and I'm just going to kind of drag it as evenly as possible across the top right here. Okay. It's getting a little too close to that. So we're gonna add some more here. I'm going to kind of pick this up, spread this around.
So you've used 2 spoonfuls so far, right?
2 spoonfuls so far, yeah.
That's probably going to be like pretty standard for like a t-shirt or a
Yep.
sweatshirt if you're doing something this size.
Yeah. Okay, so I have my screen where I want it. I'm just going to raise this up, and this part right here is also key. The reason being is because the first time I ever did this, I did not do this, and it didn't turn out as, I didn't feel like it turned out as crisp. So kind of raise your screen up where you're at. I'm going to take my squeegee and I'm going to flood, this is the technical term for this, I'm going to flood my screen, okay? So we are flooding our screen. Okay, it's covered up, we're flooding the screen, and then I'm going to lay it back down where I want it, and then with a good amount of pressure, and you can see my screen print ink is mainly on this side, I'm going to come through here, good pressure, and we're going to pull this down.
Ooh.
Still have your screen print,
Yeah.
You're gonna pull this down. Now I like to go back through, drag it a couple times.
Can you overdo this?
If you don't have enough pressure on your screen, it can kind of gloop up.
Okay.
So just make sure you're doing a good amount of pressure, dragging it.
I love screen printing because it's like a permanently on there,
Yep.
opposed to like HTV. It's not gonna come off in the wash.
Now what I'm gonna do before I pull this up, I'm going to take my spoon. You might have to go to number 1 for this because I can't put it in the middle. We'll go to our first camera. I'm going to take my spoon and I'm literally just dragging this ink back into the pot.
That makes me so nervous. Don't spill it.
I mean, I probably do as I say, not as I do. Don't do it on top of your sweatshirt like I'm doing. That
Like
was
to live our life on the edge.
living my life on the edge. Okay. Now, I'm going to lay this to the side. I really need
Here,
some
hand
paper
it to
towels.
me. It's
Yeah.
making me nervous.
Get some paper towels. Now what I'm going to do is I'm even going to come in here, and there was some extra screen printing ink right there. I'm going to scrape it off of this screen too. Listen, y'all know I don't like to waste. Waste not, want not. Now, y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? So, one other thing.
Ooh, that looks so good.
It is okay if you have a little, like a piece that you didn't pull. What I'm going to do is you can actually grab a paintbrush. I'm going to grab a paintbrush.
That looks amazing. I'm taking that one home with me. I just went to rinse off the thing, but I saw a few of y'all had commented.
Okay, so what you can do if you mess up down here in the corner, I'm just taking the lid to this with a paintbrush.
Love it.
And so now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to also grab a heat gun.
Yeah, like
so what I'm doing now is I'm just coming in here with a heat gun, and I am going to dry this.
Mary Kate said, "Where's Tanner? Did he just walk in?"
No.
Oh, he didn't. He's busy. He'll be here. I think he'll be here tomorrow we're doing leather pennant flags tomorrow.
Yes, me and Tanner will be here tomorrow. So one thing that, now that I'm getting up close and looking at this, it doesn't look as crisp as my other ones. And I think I know why.
Why?
And I want to tell you guys. So let's go. Are we on camera 1? So I was trying to completely wash out the black for you guys and kind of testing different methods of washing the screens without having the actual screen print, like stuff that we wash with. And I had some Dawn Power Wash that I let sit on that screen, and I think that caused it to not stick as well.
Here.
I think that's what caused my vinyl to not stick as well.
I want to see it close.
See what I'm saying?
I mean, I guess so. I think you're being hypercritical because it looks really good. Like, even beside this, I feel like it looks really good, which this has been sitting forever, so that's not fully cured yet. But like,
well, what I'm getting at is, I don't think I would try to wash my screens with Dawn Power Wash if you plan on trying to stick more stuff to them.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So what, just soap or just water?
Just water, yeah. So
Okay.
really and truly, I should have already taken that to the sink and washed it if I was not continually pulling ink through it.
Right.
Okay.
That's why you want to have so much prep work done. If you're going to be doing multiple signs, multiple sweatshirts, like you need to have your 10 shirts that you're going to be screen printing sitting beside you ready to go.
Yes.
That way when you're done, you can go straight to the sink and rinse your screen print and rinse your squeegee off and all that.
Yep.
What is your best advice for not letting the screen shift on your shirt?
For not letting it shift is what my best advice is. If you have your screen, and I'm going to use this that we don't have anything on, I would put it down. I would keep a good firm pressure. Now, a lot of people actually put their screens on hinges.
Yes.
And have it like a heat press, so it raises and closes on its own. No, if I was doing screen printing, like a lot of screen printing, then that's what I would do. I would put it on hinges.
Yeah.
And do it this way.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
But if you're just doing it yourself, I would place it where I want it, hold it up, keep good pressure here. Remember, if we're flooding, I would keep a good amount of pressure kind of pushed back on my shirt, flood my screen, and then leave my squeegee sitting in my screen and then push it down. I mean, it's a lot of, you have to kind of have more of a steady hand with it, but that's what I would do to keep it from moving as much.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. So now what you would do is you're just going to repeat the same process if you do like I did and cut this design into multiple. Really and truly, I think that looks cute just by itself. You could flood it off the shirt and then place it. The only thing, if you are doing, if you're doing a single design, you could do it that way. If you are doing multiple colors on a design, flooding it off the shirt then does not allow you to see the placement and does not allow you to, it makes it a lot harder to place it.
It's 100 degrees in here.
It is seriously, y'all.
Oh my goodness. I had to grab a charger because I want to see y'all's comments, but my computer's trying to go.
Oh, did it die? Okay. You know what? I don't think it's oh, maybe it is.
Everyone wants glow in the dark. They have glow in the dark screen printing ink, and we got it after the fact. Right? We have some?
I don't think we do. I don't think I ordered it. I talked about it, but I don't think I ordered it.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get some. We should get some. I think that would be really fun.
So, okay. Here's a good example of what you can do. You see how I've got this right here? With this being, this is a single layer design, so it doesn't really matter. So I just pulled that up And you can see these bubbles. We're just gonna get all these air bubbles out, flip it back over, and then burnish it down really, really good. So now all I'm doing is I'm placing my stars. Are we overhead? So what I like to do, I see where this part, the upper part of this arm is. So what I like to do is I like to pull this up so I know it's lined up. Now, if you wanted to, this is a great way. With this design specifically, it shouldn't be cut in half, but if you are doing a multiple screen design, it's a good idea to have a registration mark up at the top. I teach you all how to do that registration mark in the one where we do multiple colors. So once again, this one will probably only need about 1 spoonful. So I'm just popping this all through here. That should be enough. As you can see, I did not tape down on the bottom because I do not plan to
you need your
pull
squeegee.
it down toward the bottom. So what I'm doing, we're just flooding our screen. This is actually probably a lot of screen printing ink. Popping it down and then pulling this bad boy. Okay.
I think this is perfect. I'm just gonna scooch this stuff over. So we have our wheel.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name is Lauren and I am a craft producer here at Maker's Gonna Learn. And today we are going to be teaching you how to screen print using your Cricut with multiple colors of ink. Now this is something that you're gonna need to stick with me for the whole thing to make sure that you get all of the steps because it can get tricky at parts, but we're going to be making this adorable shirt by the end of this video. Now the cut file that we're going to be using today is a Maker's Gonna Learn exclusive cut file. If you are new to our channel, we are obviously a craft education YouTube channel, but we also have a membership site where we bring you education, motivation, and inspiration to use your Cricut. We have thousands of cut files and hundreds of fonts, and we release new cut files every month straight to you. Now we're gonna just hop on into our project and we're gonna go overhead so I can show you all of the materials that you're gonna need to get started. The materials that you're gonna need today is a t-shirt. I am using a Comfort Color 100% cotton t-shirt. With screen printing, you don't really have to worry about your fabrics. It can work on a poly blend t-shirt, a cotton t-shirt, really it doesn't matter. You have your personal preference for this. So you will need a t-shirt blank. Next, we're gonna need permanent vinyl, which is going to be our stencil. We're also going to need transfer tape for this as well. Next, we have our different screen print inks. We have 3 different colors here. I really like the Speedball inks. The Speedball didn't have this color specifically, so this is the Jacquard Professional quality. I was very impressed with this. I really do like this, so we're using 2 different brands, but I really like both of these. Painter's tape is going to be a must with this project. You will heavily rely on your painter's tape. Underneath all of this, we have our screen for screen printing, and I do have the screen print fabric on it. Now this is something that you can buy. If you are a beginner with screen printing, I suggest you buy a pre-made screen. Speedball has really great screens. This is one that I made. If you are a Maker's Gonna Learn member, we actually have a master class teaching you how to make frames. So we made this frame and we bought the screen print fabric on Amazon, and all I have done is I've stapled that to this frame. So this is, you can make your own frames or you can buy pre-made frames. Next, we have a piece of cardstock paper, and this is really gonna come in handy when you use your registration marks for your different colors, and you will see why I chose a very bright color later on in the video. Of course, I have my light grip mat. This is going to be for cutting our vinyl. Next, we have a heat gun. Now, this is not something that is necessary. You can let the screen print ink dry on its own. However, we're going to be working pretty fast and need for it to dry pretty fast. So we're going to be using a heat gun today. You also may want to grab a spoon. I use just a plastic spoon to spoon out the screen print inks from their containers onto my screen. So you may want to grab a spoon. You can use a regular spoon. I just use a plastic spoon. That way, once I'm done, I can toss it and throw it away. And then finally, you are going to need a squeegee. Now, this is probably one of the more important parts of this, is having a specific screen print squeegee. There are different brands that you can buy. Obviously, you can see ours is well loved and well used. So you can wash these and reuse them very, very often. Now that we've gone over all of our materials, we're going to head over into Design Space, and I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of setting up this cut file to get it ready to screen print with multiple colors. Now that we're over here in Design Space, as you can see, I already have this file ready to go, but I'm going to walk you through the process of how to get it here. Now, when I separate these files out, you can see that all of these different colors are separate pieces. So I have my white, I have my pink, and then I have my teal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to makersgonnalearn.com. Now, if you are not a member, you can sign up for our membership for as low as $20 a month and get commercial access to all of these files. But we are going to be using this file today. All you have to do, you don't even have to click and open up this file. If you'll just hit this little cloud icon with the arrow pointing down, it is going to download to your computer. We are going to hop back over to Cricut Design Space. From there, you will go to the upload button. You can upload image. Now, you can drag or drop into this section, or you can hit browse. Now, I'm going to go to downloads because it's going to be in recent downloads. And then I'm going to open up the little bit of Dolly, and I want the SVG version, and I'm going to open that onto my computer. Once it has uploaded into Design Space, you are going to select it and add it to your canvas. Now, before we do this, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hide all of these. I'm not going to delete them out. I'm just going to hide them all. And we're going to bring this back in. First thing you want to do before adding the registration marks, you are going to want to size your design as big as you want for your t-shirt. So we're going to hop overhead and we're going to look at our t-shirt and kind of measure how big we want. Now I did buy a larger t-shirt because I did want an oversized look. So you can go a little bigger on your t-shirts. So I'm actually going to go as big with the width as the Cricut is going to allow me. Now remember, we're going to have registration marks as well. So I'll probably size our picture to about 11, and that will give me a 1/2 of an inch to work with our registration marks. So back over in Design Space, I'm going to change my width to 11. Now it will stay locked, and then that will keep it locked and size it down to 11 inches in width. Once we have this size to where we want it, we are going to add our registration marks. Now, this is important that we add our registration marks now, because if we don't and we go to contour, it's going to change the size of all of this. So I'm going to add in my little square. Now I don't want a 2-inch square, so I'm going to put it down to 0.5 I'm going to do a 1/2 of an inch. Actually, I think we'll try it at a 1/2 of an inch first. So now that I have a 1/2 of an inch square, I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to duplicate that 3 times. So I'm going to move this one to this corner. We're going to try to get them as even as possible. So this one needs to come down just a little bit. And what you can do is you can select this one and select this one, and we can align them center vertically so they are on the same plane. Then I'm going to move this one down here, and I'm going to move this one over here to this corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one and this one. You can tell that they're off, so we're going to align them center horizontally, and then I'm going to align these two center horizontally. But now I also want to align these two on the bottom we're going to select them both, and then we're going to align them center vertically. So now we have our registration marks. Once that is done, I'm going to select all of this and make sure it is still within our 11.5. So it is, and I actually have some room to work with. So I'm going to maybe move these out away from it just a little bit so it might be a little easier to work with. We'll move this one out just a hair and move this one out just a hair. Okay, so now we're over. This is the tricky part, is moving your registration marks. Now, if you want to work with a 12 by 24 inch mat, it's possible to do that, no problem. Okay, we are within the 11.5. Now that we have our registration marks, and they are all within the 11.5, because I really just want to work with 12 by 12. You can work with the 12 by 24. That is totally up to you. Not a problem, but we're just wanting to keep it within the 11.5 on both the height and the width. We are going to weld all of this together. So now we have a welded file with our registration marks there. Now what you're going to do, I'm going to zoom out. We are going to select this and we are going to duplicate it 2 other times. So now we're going to start working with our colors. So first we have white. I'm going to have white. All of the words that are not Dolly or Miranda are going to be white. I want Dolly to be hot pink, and I want the word Miranda to be teal. Now what we're going to do is we are going to select our white. We're going to come in here and contour. Now I want Dolly and Miranda and the little line underneath Miranda, I want it gone. So I'm going to contour this out along with the line underneath, and then I'm going to come over here and just contour out all of the little holes inside these names. Okay, once that is done, you can see our cut file stayed the same size because we had these registration marks in place. Now we're going to do the same thing, except I want to contour everything out except for the name Dolly. So we're going to hit contour. With this one, it's going to be easier to say hide all contours. You can see the end of Miranda is the only thing left. We're going to bring our registration marks back, and we are going to bring the word Dolly back as well and contour out Miranda. So I want everything inside the word Dolly there as well. And I think we have it. Okay, so as you can see, I forgot to contour out these, so I'm going to go back to contour and contour out inside the name Miranda. And there we go. Same thing for this one. We want everything out except for the name Miranda. We're going to go over here to contour. We are going to hide all contours. This is still the same as before. We want to leave these inside the letter, inside the word Miranda. We want the I back, and then we want the M. And we also want our registration marks. Make sure you do not contour out your registration marks. Okay, so now we have a little bit of in white, Dolly in pink, and a whole lot of in white and Miranda in blue. So now we're going to select all of these. We are going to go to align, and we are going to center them. We want them all center. And then it all comes together in perfect harmony. This makes my heart happy seeing how this goes together and works together. And then from here, you should be ready to cut. Now, one thing I want to show you guys, and we're going to go back to Design Space here in just a second. You can do 3 different screens for this. If you have multiple screens laying around, that is great. You can do 3 different screens. However, I want to show you guys a little hack and a trick so that we're only using 2 screens, but still using 3 colors. So back in Design Space, yes, we have this set up with Dolly and Miranda separate. And this is going to be white. And I did this, the very first time I did this with 3 different screens, and it worked out great. However, this hack that I'm going to show you is we are going to align these center again. If you can see, Dolly and Miranda are pretty separate. Like they're not touching. It's not like this part of the file where things get pretty close. These two are not touching. So technically you can use one screen, and all you would have to do is tape off the word Miranda when you screen print the pink dolly. You would wash your screen and then dry it off, and then you can tape off dolly and screen print Miranda. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and weld these two together so that I only have one cut. Obviously it changes it all to that teal color. We know that dolly is going to be pink, but it's fine. It'll work out. So once you have that ready, we are going to go to make it. You can cut this on a Cricut maker machine or an Explorer. This is either one of those will work fine because we are just going to be using a fine point blade today. This next step is very, very important. So you need to make sure that you mirror both designs. Now this seems kind of odd because we're working with permanent vinyl. We are not working with HTV, so we are working with permanent vinyl. However, I want to go overhead and I want to show you guys how this is going to be assembled. So you're always going to want to work with your screen with the wood part obviously facing up because you want that screen print fabric closest to your fabric. So how this works is we're going to put the permanent vinyl on the back of this screen. It does not go on the inside of the screen. The reason it doesn't go on the inside of the screen is because when you go to Squeegee, you have a chance of snagging your vinyl and keeping your design, messing up your design. So our vinyl is going to go on the back of this screen. And the reason we mirror it is because we put it on, it's going to be mirrored, and then when we flip it back over, it's going to be on the right side. So yes, it is odd to have to mirror your permanent vinyl, but for this project, make sure you mirror your vinyl. Once you have both mats turned on the mirror on, you're going to click continue. You are going to click continue. We're going to connect to our maker, and we are going to set our base material to premium vinyl removable mat. Now this is where you would normally add your vinyl to your mat and cut your vinyl. I personally have already cut the vinyl for this project. I feel like you all know how to cut the vinyl, so we're not going to go over that. When you weed your vinyl, you are weeding out the spots that you want color. So this is kind of like when you're making a stencil. We are making a stencil with our vinyl. So first off, we're going to do our white. As you can see, I already have it all weeded out. I have my transfer tape over top of it, and we're going to go overhead, and I'm going to show you guys how you're going to want to put this on your screen. We are going to remove our vinyl from its backing. Now this may be something you need to make sure that there aren't little pieces of the vinyl that get left behind. Here we have a piece of a bee that's wanting to stay on there. Now that we have our vinyl removed from the backing, we are going to place this onto our screen. Now my suggestion with this is because we want to try our best to keep our screen as tight as possible, lay that on there and then flip it over this way, and we're going to burnish it down from the front. And you can tell, you can see where it's getting attached to that screen. Once you have it burnished down, we're going to flip it back over, and we are going to take our transfer tape off. Now do not throw the piece of transfer tape away that you use for this. See, it's trying to get my A. There we go. Because you can reuse this for the next time you use this screen. So we're going to flip it back over, and we're going to just make sure it's down really well. Now you do not have to use a piece of vinyl that almost covers the whole screen. It just so happened that this is a 12 by 12 frame, so it almost covers it all. If you just use half of the frame, do not worry, what we're gonna do next is we're going to cover up these areas over here, like these edges, with painter's tape. So, but you do not want to cover up your registration marks, because that's going to be key when you are lining up the other pieces. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my painter's tape and I'm going to look for the edges that are not covered in vinyl, and I'm going to cover these up. And you can also turn it around on the back and make sure that, see, we've got this, it's covered with that blue painter's tape. So I need it up this side and along the edges. And I'm probably going to do just a little bit on this side, on the inside, just to make sure that it doesn't get through, the paint does not get through there. I don't think I'll be that far on the edge, but it's better to be safe than sorry. One thing that you need to make sure, a little hack for this, when you are getting pretty close to those registration marks, if you'll lay your tape kind of there, you see it's kind of covering it up, but what I want to do is I just want to come in here and put it down with my fingers up there against that edge to make sure it covers that. And then we can lay it down on the top. And even if you think that's a little too close for your comfort, that registration mark, make sure you leave it open, but we'll just come back through here on the middle just to make sure we don't get any extra right through there. And then we're just going to continue the process of taping the edges. And just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to add a little bit of tape to this side as well. Tear that off. Okay, now that we have all of that taped, your next step is you are going to line your design up where you want it to go. And then we are going to come in with our cardstock. And I'm just going to cut this into little squares. 1, 2. So what I'm going to do now, and as you can see, it's kind of hard when you're working with dark colors to see this super good. Same thing if you use white. If I were to use white permanent vinyl on the back of this, because I'm screen printing in white, it's going to be hard to line these up because they're white. So that's why I use a bright, very different color. So once I have that lined up, I'm going to pick up my screen until I see the green in that corner, trying not to move it, just kind of pushing my paper in there until I see the green. Same for this, just pushing it in there until I see the green, and for this corner. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape off these pieces of cardstock without trying to move the shirt too much. That's why you want your pieces. You can use index cards for this. We just have an abundance of cardstock laying around the office, so that's why I'm using the cardstock. I'm actually going to tape that one up there off on that top as well. And I'm going to tape this side. So now we are ready to start the process of screen printing. So we are going to be starting with our white color. Now, because I have a lot more room down here on the bottom, I'm actually going to put the white down here instead of up top. So I'm going to take my plastic spoon and I'm just going to take my ink and I'm going to run it across the bottom. Now, you don't want to use an excessive amount of ink. However, you want to make sure it gets really good and covered. And plus, what I like to do once I'm done, when there is extra ink, I will take my spoon, I will just scoop it up and put it back in my container. So this next step is going to be what I have learned is pretty key. So I'm just going to, because we don't have the registration marks filled right now, it really doesn't matter, but I'm just going to pull this up and I'm going to backfill my screen. So I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to backfill my screen. Now I'm going to lay this back down and I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it down. Now you want to make sure you get your registration marks as well with this. So you're going to drag down. I'm just going to grab that registration mark so that it has some ink on it. And we're going to go over this a couple times. Now you want to put some decent pressure on this when you do this. That way it really does get through the screen and gets onto your material. Take this and move it back around. Then I think I'm going to just drag it one more time. Up and back down. As you can see, I have quite a bit of ink left. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my spoon and I'm going to drag it back into my container. I have a little bit of excess over here on the edges that I'll just pick up. Move this out of the way. And there is the first part of our shirt. Now, what is going to be key is you are going to need to go wash your screen immediately. So I'm going to run out to our sink and I'm going to wash our screen and be right back. Now that I have my screen washed, before I move into my next step, I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to turn it on low and I'm just going to run it over this screen print ink so that it dries very quick. Once it is dry to the point to where you can touch it and nothing comes off on your finger, you are good to go to add your next layer. That one was not dry as good. There we go. Now I'm going to move my shirt over to the side and we're going to repeat the process of adding vinyl to a screen. Now, as you can tell, I have used this screen. I used it to do a 4th of July shirt, and you can reuse the screens once you have used them. But we're going to add our vinyl to this other screen. So I'm just burnishing this transfer tape down so that it will pick up this vinyl and we can add it to the back of that screen. Once we have the backing off of our vinyl, same thing. We are going to lay it down and then flip it over so that our design stays on our screen. And this is why I say reuse the same transfer tape, because it seems to not peel up our vinyl. It's a lot easier taking it off the vinyl than the previous one was. So now, once again, we are going to tape off, and I'm going to pull the shirt back in frame. We are going to tape off. So we're going to start with Dolly. So we're actually going to tape off Miranda first and the edges. So we're taping all of this off. We're going to come up here and tape this. Now you don't have to really tape as much around the edges with this specific portion for this design, because I'm just going to be putting the screen print ink just right here around Dolly and then just dragging it around Dolly. I'm not going to put it in the registration marks because I don't need to add another layer. I can just see those white registration marks through there. So as long as you tape off really around the word Dolly, then that will be good. You don't have to use so much tape and tape down in here because I'm not going to be dragging all the way down here. So with our pieces of paper staying in place, what we're going to do is we are going to line up all of our registration marks, and then we are going to start dragging our pink. Once again, now this is where you're going to want to be careful. Just pick it up off the shirt. You're going to want to backfill your design. Then we're going to place it back down with our registration marks. And then you're going to drag. Put the excess ink back into the container. And we have our second color. Once again, you're going to want to go wash this immediately, so I'm going to wash this out, and then we're going to tape off the dolly and drag the Miranda. Now that I have that screen cleaned and I am back in here, here is the good thing about this screen print. Before I dry it, if you can see this Y is a little lighter than I would like to, I'm going to grab a paintbrush and we're just going to touch that area up. So I'm just going to grab this paintbrush. We're going to get a little bit of this screen print ink. And we're just going to fill it in to make it look just a little bit darker right through there. Okay, now that we've kind of touched up that little area, I'm going to come in with my heat gun. And I'm going to dry this pink. Now, one thing I do want to address is you can see that that pink is a little bit duller than this pink. And I want to say what I did with this one specifically is I brought the dolly back in and I drug it one more time. However, it does make it a little thicker and has more tendency to crack. So you can leave it like that, or you can drag it one more time if you want the color to be a little brighter. But I think I like this faded out, little washed out look. So I'm just going to make sure it gets really good and dry. Okay, now that that is dry, I'm going to bring in the screen that we just used for dolly, and I did wash this. And you can reuse these screens. So if you wanted to make a screen and you wanted to keep using it, for example, if you make your screens, you can keep these on hand if you are wanting to sell t-shirts, screen print t-shirts, and all you have is your Cricut. You can keep these on hand, and then anytime anybody wants a shirt like this, you can pull out your screens. That is possible. However, if you just want to make these for yourself, you can remove this vinyl on the back and put a different file on here and really screen print anything you want if it's just for personal use. But if you are doing mass production and you want to make more than one, I would definitely make a screen for each design that you have. Now that we've done that, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pull up the tape off of Miranda. You do want to try to get this as dry as possible. If it were up to me, I would probably let this sit for a little bit, but it is fine if it's not. See where I taped Miranda off really good, you can see where it did not get wet, so we're just going to tape off dolly and go with it. One thing I will say, do not use a heat gun to dry out your screen print fabric, because what's going to happen is you're going to melt it completely. So don't do that. We learned from experience that that happens if you try to dry your screen print fabric. Best thing to do, set it out in the sun and let it air dry. So now we have dolly taped off. I do not like this edge right here. I'm afraid I'm going to get too close to it trying to get that A. So I am going to tape off this. And it's okay that this little registration mark is partially covered up because I still have the other three and I can still use it. So now that we've got that, we are going to once again line up our registration marks. And then we are going to start with our teal color. Same thing as before. We're going to run this color across where we're going to be screen printing. Hold it up just a little bit. Backfill where we're going to be screen printing. Now I'm seeing that I probably don't have enough ink right here, so I'm just going to add some more right there on that edge and backfill. And then line up our registration marks again. Press down and pull. Then we're going to take our extra ink drag it from our squeegee into our container. And I've got a little extra over here on the sides that I'm going to get up. And then pray to the crafting gods and pull up our design. Ta-da! And once again, you're going to run to the sink and make sure you wash your screen. Same as before, once you have washed your screen, we are going to make sure that our screen print ink dries very well. Now, one thing I do want to add, I always thought that I was a speedball girl when it came to screen printing ink, but I have been very, very highly impressed with this Jacquard professional screen printing ink. I think that the lines came out super crisp. The color is phenomenal. It covered very well. I really, really like this Jacquard screen printing ink. And once that is dry, you can remove your tags and you have a cute screen printed t-shirt. Now you can see I kind of got a little white over here. I'm just going to leave it. That's where I didn't put my paper close enough to that edge. So I did mess up a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. Wow. That was a process. It can get messy, as you guys can see, but I absolutely love the results of a good screen printed t-shirt. Now, one thing I hope that you took away from this video is the use of those registration marks. This is not something that just has to be used with screen printing. You can learn to use registration marks when lining up vinyl with so many different other projects using your Cricut. And I really hope that you have taken something away from this. Even if you don't plan to screen print a t-shirt, maybe you've learned how to use registration marks for other projects that you plan on doing in the future. One thing I will say, if screen printing intimidates you, please don't let it. It has quickly become one of my favorite ways to make a t-shirt, and I have been making so many different screen print t-shirts here lately. If you have enjoyed today's craft, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel for all of the crafts that we will bring you, and turn on that bell notification so that you can be notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.